welcome to our final match of the week here for our feature matches. Week 1, Next Generation League. We got two more relatively new players here on our server. We got Logan, who's been around for 2 or 3 leagues, I think now, against Renaud, who I believe is on his second league. So, I mean, that's we're happy to have all these newer players that we haven't seen before in our feature matches very much. So, what's going on in Renault's hand over there?
Renaud has
Oh,
an exit specialist, a Tyrox Sword Tyrant, a Riftburst Hellion, Nimblethopterist, and one of my favorite cards from DFT, River Churn Monument.
River Charm Monument, still good in 60 cards, you know? Well, I mean, a lot of these like mill type cards that are like pretty consistently decent in 40 card don't translate well into 60 card, but this one actually it kind of just does because of the exhaustibility.
I mean,
Yeah.
the luxury of just milling your opponent's entire deck if they're mill stratted, like if they have any sort of mill themselves, is just it's a strong effect, regardless of whether or not it's 40 or 60.
Yeah, so the furtive courier, I believe it's whenever it attacks you, you're looting.
That sounds correct.
Yeah. So left in hand here for Logan, he's got Fleeting Distraction. He's got Roadside Blowout, Snakeskin Veil, everyone's favorite 1 mana protection trick. He's got Make Your Own Luck, and he's got Intrude on the Mind up there at the top of the curve, 5 mana. So some pretty powerful card draw spells in his future, but for now he's just looking for lands to cast them.
And this disguised creature is the exit specialist, the
Okay.
flip and bounce.
Yeah, so this loots, and I believe if you've sacrificed an artifact, it can't be blocked this turn. I believe that's
Yes, that's correct.
the extra text on this fellow. It's a nice test of my memory to see if I can remember these cards, which despite only like being from a year ago, feels like 20 sets ago. Because
Hmm.
we've had not only like the standard releases since they've come out, but we've had Pioneer Masters, we've had MH3, we've had all sorts of other cards that we've come across. So fun to at least try and remember what some of these cards do. And the the loot from the courier brought him the fourth land,
So
and the
we'll likely be
surveil
seeing
here
a
is
Nimblethopter at Battlefield
okay.
here. I don't expect he'll be bouncing something.
Yeah, the surveils bring him his fifth land, so we'll be able to start playing his powerful cards here. Make Your Own Luck, and eventually, potentially next turn, the Intrude on the Mind, which is that mythic. It's like a fact or fiction type card, but it brings along a flying body as well.
Well, it appears he's decided otherwise.
Well,
I guess that makes sense. You're trying to get in for 6 damage here. This will probably eat a dazzling denial if I have any expectation.
that sounds like a counter spell. Oh, it's one from Bloomborough, right? Yeah, he's letting it happen. So the exit specialist can't. What's the block condition on that? Can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. All right. Well, he doesn't get to eat the exit specialist. I still think. I mean, he said oops here, but I still think casting the Snake's Veil is fine, just to not lose the tempo. I think it's probably worth trading, but like the Sterling Hound's not getting better, so
Yeah. Um, Renault had the opportunity to play a dazzling denial to counter it, but which feels like it might have been the correct play there.
but
But I mean,
how does that counter work? It's like counter unless they pay 1
it's
or
counter unless they pay 2,
2.
unless you're a bird.
If you have a bird, it's 4. Is that it? Or is it just counter anything?
Something like that.
Okay. It's gonna be cast here, I'm assuming.
Yep, that'll definitely eat the fast lane denial.
Counterless, you pay 2.
Bird 4.
Yeah, okay. Got it. All right, looting away here. He's got a Fang Guardian or a Roadside Blowout to discard. See, now we get to see his true nature. Is he a value player or is he an aggro player? I'm not sure if something froze here.
So we got a Rift Burst Hellion hitting the battlefield. It won't be
Okay,
flipping up
yeah,
for a little while.
Logan's stream was lagging a little bit. Thought it was something over here. Yeah, so he did discard the value card rather than the aggressive card. Looks like he's gonna intrude on the main phase here just to play around a counterspell, perhaps.
Yep. He's got a Renaud has a take the fall in hand. I don't recall what that card does.
-4, -0 if you control an outlaw, draw a card.
Okay.
I believe.
That makes sense, and I believe you.
Look, I apologize for not reading up on. I'm going through all of the 6 sets before we started here, but yeah, we're making do. Yeah, so in hand for Logan, aside from the Fang Guardian and the Intrude on the Mind, which is everything's instant speed here. He's also got Reasonable Doubt, which is the counter unless they pay 2, and then something becomes suspected, I believe.
Well, it would be tempting to counter the River Churn Monument, but I don't believe that he will be able to.
No, that Return Monument is beyond reasonable doubt. It's resolving 100%.
And there's the Intrude on the Mind.
Yeah, what a card. Okay. Interesting cards here. So unfortunately, unlike its sort of spiritual predecessor, Fact or Fiction, your opponent gets to choose which cards goes into your hand, but the opponent will also, by doing that, choose the size of the flying Thopter that you get.
Yep. What is he looking at on those 5 cards?
Yeah, so he's got 2 lands. He's got a Micromancer, a Stop Cold, and Aloe Alchemist. He's got some
Okay.
powerful cards there. He's looking at Micromancer with 1 land and then the other 2 spells with a land.
I mean, presumably you don't play Micromancer without a target to search up, so
I'm sure
whatever
he's
he's
got
got
sure he's got
is
something.
useful.
Sure he's got something.
Without any creatures on the field, Renaud isn't facing down much threat at this point.
No, he's not only is he ahead on life, he's ahead on board, and he's got an extra way to win here, just in case the game goes long enough for it to matter with the River Monument. So he is just trying to make sure he stays ahead here.
How would you take in this situation?
I mean, what's in Renault's hand? Does he have any interaction or?
He's got a Nimble Thopterus to take the fall and a Caught in the Crossfire that he can't currently use. He needs a red mana for it.
That one deals 2 damage to things?
Yes.
I think I would probably maybe give the 3 cards and a 2/2 in that case. But
Yeah, just because you'd be able to get rid of it later. That's fair.
yeah, so draw for turn. Here's a Gnarlid colony.
Okay. It is in kicker range, right?
Yeah, he could kick it. I think he's rather play either leave open the Fang Guardian and the Reasonable Doubt, or play Micromancer and leave up Reasonable Doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Try and nab something here with a counter spell. All right, so he's got 2 choices here. He's got Bushwhack or Longstock Brawl. So he can fight or he can fight.
Both of which are good options,
Yep.
especially in this situation.
Yeah, Longstock Brawl. So it's a fight, but if you give your opponent a fish token, it's a +1 counter in a fight.
Off the top of the deck, we have a Spell Gyre. That's the choice between counter target spell or surveil
Draw
and
two.
draw.
Yeah, draw two.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That card feels nice. I think unfortunately, it wasn't well suited for the Bloomborough environment. Um, blue ended up being a little bit behind some of the other colors, but I mean, such a strong card. Yeah,
Yep.
so
So this can
reasonable
go
doubt, suspect up to one creature. Everybody remembers suspect, right? That's such a memorable keyword that
Oh yeah,
definitely
menace and can't block.
it's good. I think it'll go in the pantheon of forgotten combat keywords slash mechanics with training and enlist and
He
all
chooses
these
to.
other things we're never going to remember.
Interesting that he chooses to suspect the exit specialist as opposed to one of his creatures.
Yeah, well, I think when your opponent's at 11 and you're just going to tell your opponent they can't block anymore, their
That's
creature,
fair.
there's value to that. So he could fight here, and then he could play one of his 5 drops, either the Gnarlid Colony, or he also has the Icewind Elemental, which is a 3/4 flyer that loots when it comes in.
Mm-hmm.
That one I do
That
remember
is,
from Foundations.
yeah, take the fall would not be able to stop this fight from killing his creature because the exit specialist is not an outlaw.
Okay, it's -1, -0, draw a card, but -4 if you have an outlaw. Got it.
Mhm.
Exit Specialist is a detective, isn't that the opposite of an outlaw?
Yep, the
More or
opposite
less.
of an outlaw.
Yeah, so sorry, I thought it was -4, -0, and then if you have an outlaw, draw a card, but it's you always draw a card, but it's -4 if you have an outlaw.
So we have a dramatic accusation and a spell gyre in hand, neither of which I think effectively deals with the lethal threat staring him down.
I mean, you can answer one of them, but he's got 2 more problems here.
Yep, so he's going to go for the surveil, hoping to hit something,
I
and
mean, unlikely, but yeah.
we see a wreck remover and a mountain on top.
Yeah, so that intrude on the mind really turned the game around because Logan didn't have too much going on, and then suddenly he had a 3/3 flyer and 2 cards in hand. Who knew? Who knew that you could turn around a game by doing something like that?
And drawing trial agony is not going to do it.
No, no, that one is not going to work here. Yeah, so pretty nice showing here from Logan in game one. Got to see some of his powerful stuff here. Looking at his deck, he's got well the powerful stuff is there for sure. Looking at the top of his curve, he's got the Quilled Great Worm, which is a 7/7 from Foundations. He's got Coma. He's got a Sabsunin. Um, yeah, so
All
Simic.
the top ends there.
Yeah, he's got some. He's got a lot of two make your own luck, as well as the intrude on the mind, and he's got a lot of 2 drops. So it's not like he's not going to have stuff to do in the early game. He's got a good amount of 2 drops, including one of my faves there, the Pond Prophet.
Renaud, by comparison, has a blue red, just pure blue red deck. Nothing. I didn't see anything notable. He locked in very quickly.
Okay. I mean, look, week one, especially
Yeah.
his record is 2-0, so Renault has no losses as of yet. Um, yeah, you effectively, I mean, at least when I'm playing 2 colors in week one, I effectively don't have a sideboard until I have 1 or 2 losses, and even then, I I don't sideboard much, but that's just me. All right, so what's going on in Renault's hand here?
So we're looking at a island as the third land,
Okay.
take the fall, a burst lightning, a cursed recording if he can get double red, as well
Ooh,
as a caught in the crossfire, and a Kalorna Coral Tyrant, which will gum up the ground a bit.
that's the 0/8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, interesting curse recording. That was another card that just didn't get to be great in Duskborn, just because there was no card in the set that was like the only card in the set that cared about instants and sorceries.
Yep.
Like there was no instant or sorcery deck. Like it was like you were trying to do delirium, you were trying to fill up your graveyard. You were trying to trigger enchantments, play rooms.
Yeah, because the blue-red deck that you would think Curse Recording would
No, it
go
was
in,
rooms deck.
it was rooms.
Like Duskmourn may have been one of the sets with the least instant or sorceries ever, just because a lot of that design space was filled by like rooms.
So
Uh,
off the top is that mountain he was looking for, which probably means Curse Recording hits the battlefield.
I mean, I want to see it. I want to see it be great. That it seems cool to me. So for Logan in hand, he's got some of his powerful 5 drops here. Make your own luck, Tarion, and the Sabsunin. He's got that pesky Snakeskin Veil again and a roadside blowout. So yeah,
Does
Curse Recording is going to come down, and it is going to potentially be a problem here if he has follow ups.
Sabsunin even need the the snakeskin veil though?
Well, he does need more lands in order to cast these cards, of which he does not have any. I think he's just going to cast his roadside blowout here to draw a card, I would imagine.
I would imagine
Okay.
that's probably okay.
He's decided not to. He's got failed fording in hand, which I believe is a bounce spell. And if you control a desert, you do something. But it's just a bounce otherwise.
Renaud is looking at a pearl of wisdom. That's the draw. That's the divination that
Divination,
cares
yeah.
about otters.
So it's a divination
Yes, it is
then.
just a divination in
Cool.
this deck.
Nothing wrong with that. We like drawing cards,
All
especially when
right,
you get
here
to do
comes
it
that
twice.
cursed recording.
So what does it do again? If you get up to 10 counters on it, you lose. Is that it?
I believe so. You get to you.
You just watch the tape too many
Yep,
times. Yeah.
you take 20 damage from it.
Okay. Yep. You get cursed because you watched it over and over and over.
Still, for as long as it's on the field, it will definitely give Renault some value.
Yeah. So Logan, I kind of think that he did draw land here, but I think roadside blowout last turn would have been a lot better because he would have drawn his land, played it, and then potentially been in a place to draw his 5th land this turn and start casting his powerful spells potentially. Like if I have like some of the most powerful 5 drops like that you can imagine, and they're in my hand, and I'm stuck on 3. I'm playing roadside blowout, and I'm not caring what I'm targeting with it. Like I just want to. I'm just cycling it basically, and I get to bounce something. Great. I just want to find that land because if he gets
So
his lands, he's just going to overpower Renaud here.
immediately resolve the Sabsunin, yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's here. He's wondering, is there a counter? Do I try and play around a counter? You could copy the counter spell with the curse recording. Hey, it works with like a quench variant, right? If your opponent actually has the 2 mana but not the 4. Like if you have something
So
that says counter unless you pay 2, and opponent has 2, you could copy it. But yeah.
yeah,
Okay, so he's
I
opted
would
to play none of his 5 drops here, and just I
I would
guess exhaust.
yeah, I would definitely be tempted to just fire off the Sabsunin. It's such a beater when it hits the battlefield.
I mean, maybe I'm afraid of a counter, but I could certainly just play the. You could have certainly just played the make your own luck, perhaps.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably just as likely to get a counter as the bomb in your deck.
And he doesn't have a counter though.
No, there's no counter. There's a Slagstorm and Aetherized, the Magmakin Artillerist that was from DFT that cares about discarding, and then a Seismic Rupture.
That's a very weak 1 card. This artillerist here. That's a card you play until you get better cards, and you're like, get this out of here. What is the
Yep.
seismic rupture? Is that a deal 2 damage to everything card?
I believe it's another deal 2 damage to
Okay,
everything.
well, we like dealing 2 damage to everything.
Yeah, and with Cursed Recording, it's 4.
That is well thought out. Yes, correct. Yeah, so Logan's just gonna exhaust here rather than play one of his heavy hitters. But I mean, at some point he's gonna cast one of his bombs here. I mean, the only
Yeah.
bomb that he has right now is Sabsunin, but he's got Make Your Own Luck. He could also cast. He's drawn a counter spell, Reasonable Doubt, which is probably going to incentivize him to continue leaving up his mana rather than casting something.
Yeah, it does not feel like Logan is in a position where he's worried about losing the game on the spot.
I mean, he's not attacking. He's not casting spells. Not. I'm not sure how we're progressing by not attacking or casting spells, but I'm sure he's got some kind of a plan here.
Is he holding up something to
Yeah,
cast?
he. I mean, he has a snakeskin veil, but like, why? He's not really
Right.
protecting anything. He's got a bounce spell, and he's got a reasonable doubt, which is counter unless they pay two.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like Renaud doesn't have to do anything. He could just win with a River Turn Monument if his opponent's going to be content to not attack him or cast spells, right?
Yeah, this River Monument will eventually get there. And off the top, we have a trip up when the Sabsunin resolves.
Like if I were River Turn Monument in play, I would, I would ask my opponent, could you please not attack or cast any spells while I win with this? But oh, Reclamation Sage off the top. That's a fun one.
That
So he
will
said,
get.
I've decided I want to cast a spell. I found a spell I want to cast. Sabsunin, I don't want to cast, but this one I do. Now he's actually faced with a real decision, and I think it's the monument.
I think a monument kills you faster than the cursed recording does.
Yeah, curse recording is depends on the strength of spells that he has. River
Which,
Monument will just do the thing over a period of time, and it always does it faster than you think.
yeah,
It always sneaks
Renaud
up on you.
does.
Like I try and do the math, and I'm like, I'm always off somehow. And I'm like, it's always faster than I computed. All
All
right, so
right,
he does go
here
after
will
the
be a
recording.
doubled up. Here's going to be a doubled up trip up.
Ooh, that's gonna set him back quite a bit.
Bouncing the curse recording also makes sure that the Rex Sage's ability doesn't happen and resets the counters.
Is he targeting the curse
Yep.
recording?
He's targeting the curse recording and the Sky Streak Engineer.
Okay, so he could snakeskin veil here. He could also reasonable doubt he could counter the original one that's targeting the curse recording.
Mm-hmm.
So he'd still lose his sky streak, but he could counter this one that's now on the stack.
All right, looks like he's content to just let it resolve.
I mean, he has the two to pay for it though, so this reasonable doubt is doubtful right now whether it can counter something that he needs countered.
Yep, and River Churn Monuments continuing to be a win
I
condition.
mean, Renault's at 20 here. Like he hasn't been attacked, so
How many cards are we looking at in graveyard?
it's not too much yet. I think it's like 7 or 8 maybe,
Mm.
but it'll add up. So I mean, he's. I mean, this is a good use of suspect, but
Yeah.
this '08 is suspect in nature anyway. How do you feel about a
So
two mana '08?
uh in certain formats it can be effective. In this one, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I think I cited it in like once or twice in like 40 whatever drafts that I did. So I know some people like it. I like my defensive cards to disincentivize my opponents from attacking rather than just being a
Sit
big
there.
old blocker. Yeah, I'd rather play one of those like a Midnight Mangler like every
Mm-hmm.
day, right? It's just
Yep.
your opponent can't really attack in or will have to trade. This one they're free to attack. Like you could block, but they're free to attack all the time, always. All right, so he says, finally, opponent's tapped out. I want to play Sabsunin. And how's Renault going to deal with this? Because this is now the center focus of the game.
His only option looks to be an Aetherize if Sabsunin attacks in.
Okay, well, I mean that's going to be a couple turns, right?
Yep.
And I
And
mean Sabsunin is going to win the game faster than these artifacts here that Renault has. But Etherize
yeah,
can set it back. Yes.
It'll at least send it back for a turn. It'll buy him some time, but it's not gonna win the game, especially given the fact that Subsunin has reach, which slows down his clock even further.
Yeah, why? Why does this? Why? What do we?
Look, it's a frog. It can jump. It has to have reach. That's the
I
rules.
think it's just. I think it's just inconceivably tall, really, rather than it can jump. I don't think that thing is jumping anywhere. Yeah, there was just so much reach in Ether Drift. Like it just felt like flying did not feel like a viable way to try and win the game.
No, it did not.
It's like you had three huge reach creatures all at common, like just and all excellent. Why in the world does the Thunderhead Gunner have reach? Like, ah, yes, we have the classic make your own luck, uh, exiling another make your own luck.
Oh, wonderful. So he gets to cast another one next turn.
Yes, he sure can. That was a combo I enjoyed back in OTJ. Make your own luck to make some more luck. It's like stocking up and finding a stock up. You know,
Oh
it's
yeah.
a good feeling.
If Substudent didn't have Indestructible, Renaud had an option, right? He has Slagstorm that gets copied twice, but unfortunately, Substudent also indestructible.
Yeah, why not? Like I don't know who designed this card, but it's not like I don't think people are playing it in like standard. I don't think people are playing it in commander. Like why are we needing this card to be like this and limited? Like who's this card for is what I'm trying to figure out.
Well, he's drawn an answer to the Substudent, which
Okay.
is a dramatic
Yeah,
accusation.
that'll do it. So it's just a mere 3 for 1 here.
Yeah,
Oh, there goes a coma.
okay.
One less insanely large monster to worry about here.
River Churn is getting pretty close to milling him out, though.
Yeah, like it always sneaks up on you, but yeah, it's he hasn't done a graveyard check in a moment here, but I'm sure I'll keep my eye out for that. I'm sure Renault is keeping his eye out as well. Look at this. We're discarding the hand size. This is beautiful magic right here. Just people dropping bombs. People, both players 7 cards in hand. 0 8s on the board. Yeah, we're having a good time here.
0-8 that can't block because it's expected.
Might as well. Might as well attack with it, right? No,
Yeah.
maybe not.
And here comes the dramatic accusation.
Yeah. So we do have the snakeskin veil still here, though. So that was the snakeskin veil that he was thinking about using earlier, but opted not to and said, "Well, why don't I just protect my Sab student? Because this thing needs hexproof on top of all the other effects."
Notably, this will also make him draw 2 more cards next turn.
Yeah, he'll be off of attacking though, but I guess it won't be etherized yet. Yeah, so funny story at the pre-release, I played Sabsunin. I drew 2 cards with it. It had a counter, and then my opponent played Stall for Time, which puts 3 stun counters. But
Yeah.
Sabsunin, when it checks whether it's able to attack or whether it's drawing cards, it checks the amount of counters on it. So it was just going to have an even amount of counters on it, basically for the rest of the game.
Mhm.
So it would never draw cards again. Because at first it had 1+1 counter and 3 stun counters. Then it was 2 and 2. Then it was 3+1 counters and 1 stun counter. Then it had was 4+1 counters, and the game ended. It never untapped again. And it never drew any cards.
So this was a gifted long stock brawl, right? So that we'll add a +1/+1
Yeah,
counter, meaning
he wants to
you can attack
attack.
again.
Yeah, well now he gets to attack, right? Or no, he
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah. This will be the attacking
Yeah, I
plus
guess.
one plus one
Yeah,
counters.
I'll get to attack now. So he's
Man, this card is
fighting the 1/4, and this might get nasty here. because then the Etherize, he's gonna have to eventually Etherize, but he's gonna take some pain here in the meantime.
Yep.
He's also drawn Pawn Prophet, which is the best frog in his deck by a lot. Forget this Sabsunin. I just want my little 2 mana 1/1 draw card creature.
Yeah, forget the frog god that draws you more cards.
Yeah, I know that's it's it's too fancy. I like simple magic over here. Yeah, so plenty of cards in hand. He still has the Roadside Blowout and Terrian from earlier in the game, the Failed Fording as well. 2 lands. He's still even got the Make Your Own Luck that he could just cast whenever. I don't know. I assume he's going to cast it.
I would assume so as well.
Yep. No? Okay. Uh, yeah.
Looks like 13 cards in
Oh,
graveyard for
just
Logan.
oh, he just has the choice of Migrating Ketrodon or Intrude on the Mind here.
Oh, even better.
so he puts the Intrude on the Mind and Fleeting Distraction in hand. I think he's just going to pass here with the Fleeting Distraction and Failed Forwarding up, or he's just going to discard the Fleeting Distraction. There's just too many goodies here.
Riverturn Monument. Does it mill equal to double the amount in the graveyard or
No, it's
just
just
the
the amount
amount?
in graveyard.
Okay.
So I can't imagine he's going to be there yet. So again, like I
No.
mentioned, this card is still good in 60 cards, but it does take longer, like obviously.
Yeah.
But it does kill faster than your normal mill cards because a lot of cards that are good for mill and 40 cards just don't work in 60 because it's just like you just have to do extra work. But this
Mhm.
one catches you up a bit. So he's at 15 cards in the graveyard, 24 cards in deck.
So it's close. Add a couple more cards to the graveyard with the Slag Storm, and it almost gets there.
I mean, the Etherize is going to help, right? It's going to help him not die at least.
Yep, it'll help by bouncing all those creatures back to the hand, buy him some more time.
So despite this god just absolutely going off this game, the River Turn might just steal it, as it does.
I'd be very incentivized to not cast the Etherize if he does attack with Rex Sage, though, because that destroys his win con.
Yep. Okay, so it looks like he's just going to bounce something here at opponent's end of turn. I guess he decides not to. It's just not that big a deal. All right. Sapsudin's at it again. More cards on. He's got Quilled Great Worm here, which is, I believe, it just puts counters on your creatures equal to the amount of damage they deal.
Yep.
Whenever they deal damage to, like, combat damage to anything, including creatures. This 08 getting locked down has been pretty important, I would say.
Yeah, it's prevented him from blocking a lot of the damage that's been coming in.
Yeah, because you could definitely throw that in front of like a Sabsuna at some point just to sponge up a bunch of damage, but that's not an option. And now he's played a 9/7 and a Ketrodon. We're just playing Ether Drift here. Just playing the biggest cards in Ether Drift.
The 7th toughness on that's going to be really important because it's going to prevent a double Slag Storm from wiping the entire board.
Yeah, but this Etherize followed by Slagstorm is gonna be pretty tough here. And Logan's thinking about his surveilling, and I think he's realized that even though he probably doesn't want either of these cards, he can't afford to put them in his graveyard.
Yeah, with 15 cards in graveyard.
Yeah, so he's got the Furtive Courier that we saw last game and a land, like neither of which are extremely interesting right now, but uh, he can't put cards in his graveyard. And I've been there. I've been there. He's offering up his Rex Age here. Just any card that goes in the graveyard is just putting him that much closer to death here.
So that'll be the chump on the Bark Knuckle Boxer and kill the Rex Sage.
Yeah, Renaud just says, I need to stay alive. I have a win here. I just need to be alive for it. And
Okay.
this is kind of just like a game of Ether Drift, right? Like giant green creatures against a River Turn Monument.
Oh.
I've seen this.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen this game before. So it's a
So double Slagstorm gives them enough mana to then also exhaust the River Churn, does it not?
3-7. Yeah,
If he does that, I think that's a win. He's at 18 cards in graveyard and 19 in deck.
yeah, that'll do it. I mean, not much Logan can do. I mean, he drew who knows how many cards this game, but sometimes the river turn just gets it done. There's just limited answers to it in the average deck. Perhaps in Ether Drift limited, like you have a couple more answers to it just because you're main decking things that kill artifacts. But in a format like this, very very hard to make that work. Right, so he's gonna burst lightning here. I think he's just
Break.
figuring out how to get extra cards in the graveyard.
He's just bringing him to 19 and then activating River Churn.
Yeah,
I assume Logan doesn't have a way to shuffle something back in.
no, he's got a lot of cards in hand that do a lot of different things, but that's not going to be one of them, unfortunately.
And there goes the rest of the deck.
Yeah, so River Churn gets there in limited, in 60 card limited, it still gets there. Yeah, it's funny because that was a card like before the set. It just looks like so many other of these like mill cards that just will never work. So I think myself and probably a lot of people just wrote it off before the set, like, oh, it's just like basically like an F, and then people realize, okay, you have time, and it speeds it up at the end with the exhaust. So the card just became quite good.
Mm-hmm.
Right, no changes here between games for Logan.
No changes on Renaud's side either. In his hand, he's looking at 3 islands, a mountain, a Gearbane orangutan, cursed recording, and an involuntary employment.
Yeah, another curse recording. Yeah, we got a mulligan here from a one lander. He's gonna need some help here with his draws here, and a 7 drop is not gonna do it. He just drew his Great Worm there, the 7 drop. He's got a Ketradon to cycle, Reclamation Sage. He's got Free Strider Commando, which is a 3 mana 3/3 with plot, and it'll come in as a 5/5 when you plot it.
Mm-hmm.
And a Seize the Secrets, which is a divination that I believe costs 1 less if you've committed a crime. So he has drawn a Bushwhack, which means he will be able to get his other land. Well, he's drawn a Coma here. That's a potential game plan.
Yeah, it looks like there will be a. He's just gonna pass and leave the gear and let his opponent go. He drew a trip up, so he doesn't actually have a response this turn aside from potentially cycling it.
Okay.
And here's that curse recording.
Yeah, and the Reclamation Sage is gonna come and say, "What's up?" Okay, looks like he's gonna make. Okay, he's making his own luck. Looks like he's gonna let him have the curse recording for a turn. I appreciate drawing cards and using all his mana, but I just see the curse recording. I just want to kill it right away. But maybe that's wrong.
I think in this position it's probably correct, given that Renaud is now looking at either doubling up a trip up or doubling up a Pearl of Wisdom and drawing some extra cards.
I mean, yeah, yeah. Copying the trip up could be possibly brutal, but he is just going to draw 4 cards here. Yeah, I think I just want to play my Reclamation Sage, play my 5/5, uh, maybe Bushwhack to go get another land. But he decides to do Make Your Own Luck, and all he got out of it is he's going to get to cast a Sterling Hound for free, which is, it's better than not, but it's not as good, I think, as getting this curse recording off the table.
It will potentially get him closer to casting Coma, though, right? With the land draws.
Yeah. Well, he has his 7th land in hand here, so his Great Worm and his Coma are coming down, and Renaud needs to stop them. And I mean, oh, the Great Worm is 6 drop. Jeez, what a card!
That's brutal.
Does he have anything? Does he have a counter or a bounce?
He's got a burst lightning.
Well,
Uh,
that'll kill the hound, but he's gonna be facing down a 7/7 and a 10/10 perhaps.
yeah. If Logan does cast the coma, Renaud has involuntary employment in hand and could steal it and swing back and make a bunch of 3/3s.
Does it not have Ward 4 or something like that?
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, they thought of that. They said
Yeah.
interacting with it, that sounds not fun. Let's make it impossible.
Yeah, he will definitely be in a situation where it's going to be a rough one.
Yeah, because he's taking 5 here, and this is going to be a 10/10 now.
Yep. If he doubles up involuntary employment here, he can swing back for 12, but it's just wait. This is close to lethal because it's going to get 10 counter or it's going to be a 10/10.
Yeah, but
So
he could also just block it.
with what creature is going to burst lightning?
Oh, Burst Lightning. Oh, that's almost lethal. Jeez.
It's very close.
Wow. That's like well, Logan may never know how close this was going to be to him just dying right then and there.
If there's no shot that Trial of Agony hits the right creature, but if Trial of Agony into involuntary employment and burst lightning, that is lethal. But it's instead he is just going to cast it on the Sterling Hound.
Yeah, I mean, very unexpected to Logan was certainly would not be expected to take 17 this turn, but fortunately he's at 20, so he's I don't think I don't think he's worried about taking 20 damage this turn. I don't think he's worried about taking
No.
17 either, but I don't think he's worried that it would happen.
Yeah, I think in this situation I might be tempted to just yep, he's gonna double up his trip up.
Yeah, he just says, give me a minute here. I need a moment." I think we are putting the Free Strider on the bottom.
Yeah, it'll be the Free Strider and then the Great Worm.
I think I'm putting that thing on the bottom. That guy serves no purpose here. I mean,
It's Coma Ward 4 or Ward 3?
I thought it was 4, but
I suppose we'll find out in a
oh,
second.
he's not doing the coma this turn. He is now casting the Reclamation Sage. Interesting.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think he's playing around a counter because coma can't be countered, I believe. So
Yeah,
maybe in his
and
head he was thinking that there could be a counter, but not realizing that coma has that random line of text that says can't be countered along with all the other words on it that may or may not make sense.
Renaud does have a spell gyre to counter whatever gets played, but if it's Coma,
Yeah,
then
it doesn't stop that. Yeah, he's probably Renault's probably thinking, okay, replay the Great Worm, counter that, perfect, out of my life, and then Coma's gonna come and say, your counterspell can go away. I mean, Coma is such a safe card to cast here.
if he does rely on the Great Worm over the Coma, Renaud will have mana to pay for the ward and involuntary employment.
Huh. Yeah, I'll have 8. But also, oh, it has trample, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the stat? 7, 12, 8, 12?
I
Something
think it's an
ridiculous.
8/12.
Okay, he's gonna not. He's really worried about a counterspell, but I hope he realizes maybe he hasn't that Coma can't be countered.
Renaud is deciding whether or not to fire off spell gyre to draw or hold it up for the counter later.
Okay, Logan's like, yeah, he had the counterspell. Perfect. Get that thing out of there.
So on top of the deck, we see a Dazzling Denial and an Island, both
Another.
of which I believe are going to hit the bin.
Yeah. Yeah, so Logan could have definitely been a bit more assertive with just casting his big expensive cards here. Like, I know it's not always right, but I tend to just make my opponent have stuff. Because the more I sit back and don't play my good cards, the more I just chance I get my opponent to play theirs.
Yep. So Seismic Rupture, um, and the Gearbane Orangutan is probably what's going to happen.
Okay.
Um, he drew a Flame Cash Gecko and an Outlaw's Fury off the top.
Everything has reach nowadays. What is going on here? I guess it's because he's like grabbing Thopters out of the sky. I guess that's the flavor here.
So Logan doesn't realize this, but he will find himself in a dangerous situation by resolving this coma.
I wonder if he. I doubt that. I doubt that an active treason effect is going to be on his radar.
Unlikely.
But he is casting this coma here.
And I think Renaud will be happy to. He does have an exit specialist, which I believe he can also pay for if he disguises it.
He's going to need 9 mana for that.
He is, yeah, he's one off.
Okay, so looks like Coma's gonna get an attack in here,
I
and he
feel
could.
like in Renaud's case, I would be perfectly happy just stealing that coma and swinging.
I mean, he could play the Great Worm here, which is going to make Coma that much larger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's got 2 fight spells here: Longstock Brawl and Bushwhack, as well as the worm that we know about.
I wonder if Renaud doesn't realize that the ward on coma is 4.
It does have a lot of words on it. Huh, interesting.
So that's the exit specialist that's underneath the under the gun right now.
Yeah, but it can't bounce
No, it cannot.
the Coma.
So he's gonna get the 3/3s.
Stands to reason that he will. I don't see any other way around it. I think like the only reason to not play the Great Worm pre-combat is because he's like afraid of specifically the like an active treason effect.
Mm-hmm.
Because like there's no reason to just not play this Great Worm and make your Coma like absolutely gigantic. I mean, it's already ridiculously large, but
Well, even hitting his opponent's face is gonna give him 12 toughness of blockers.
yep. Yeah, interesting to play the Great Worm post combat. He could have had a 1624. Isn't that a normal stat line that you see every day of your life?
Oh yeah.
Whatever it is, yeah. Or not quite. 1620, I guess.
Yeah, because it'll be equal to the power.
Yeah, 1620. All right, so Great Worm comes down, Lookout comes down, and yeah, Renault's gonna need something real good here because it's
Yeah,
looking
and
like a mess is coming. He's gonna get hit by several gigantic trucks here.
Strick's Lookout is not going to be good enough.
I mean, great card, but not what you're looking for here. He's looking for Ether Eyes, really. I think is like just about the only card that I could think of.
Yeah. Yeah, with Involuntary Employment, Outlaw's Fury, and Strick's Lookout, I don't think that there's anything Renaud can do here to get out of the situation.
Yeah, it's funny that both games he had this involuntary employment that just threatened so much damage. But this is the exact reason why I don't like those cards, right? Because they
Mm-hmm.
just sit in your hand, and when you're behind, you just it's just a blank. So I understand the ceiling of what it can do when it's being maximized, but that situation just doesn't come up enough times in my like, or at least I don't build decks that allow that situation to arise. So you're just sitting with this card that you can't do anything with. You know, you're sitting and you're saying I could almost do something with it. You know, last game it's like I could deal 17 damage, but your opponent's at 20. So
Yeah. Um, I think that decision point of not taking the coma last turn might have been the point at which the games. He does have one more redraw to get aetherized off the top, and it's a land.
yeah. So interesting games here, but Logan just had the power cards. Like even the
Yeah.
last game, he had this Absunin going. Opponent got him with the River Monument, but we got to see, you know, just the sheer power of his cards, just outpowering Renault's cards, right? Like Renault didn't do anything bad or wrong with his cards and his deck building. He just doesn't have cards this powerful. Like this, that's not an indictment on a player. It's just what he's supposed to do
Yeah.
against all these insanely
This is
powerful cards that just demand responses and specific types of responses immediately. So
mhm.
congratulations to Logan taking down the win here with some powerful Simic cards. And thanks for watching. See everybody next week.